Under Governor Hochul's leadership, NY State will proceed with new nuclear power plants added to its electric grid. An alternative to placing new nuclear plants upstate could be barge-mounted nuclear plants. They would be placed a few miles offshore in Long Island Sound and/or in the Atlantic Ocean, away from any shipping lanes and whale migrating pathways. Before its closure in 2022, the Indian Point Nuclear Power Plant provided 25% of carbon-free electricity to New York City and Long Island, zones J and K. Their high population density and commercial and residential power demands account for 46% of statewide electricity usage. The length of such underwater cables would be far shorter than the underwater cables being constructed for the Champlain-Hudson Power Express project. The Champlain-Hudson Power Express is a large-scale transmission project designed to deliver renewable hydroelectric energy from dams in Quebec to New York City. Such American sources of electricity might avoid possible international challenges during times of peak demand. These offshore locations would save money by eliminating the need to construct expensive upstate to downstate transmission lines, which often are contested in court, causing long delays. Underwater cables, which were already planned for offshore wind, avoid certain risks like being destroyed by wildfires and flash floods. These cables would tie into substations, like the one in Gowanus, which were already identified in the offshore wind program. There are no major land use problems with underwater cables. Offshore platforms, similar to the ones used by the petroleum industry in their offshore oil and gas facilities, would be designed to handle several barge-mounted nuclear plants. Once a new barge is attached to the grid, there would be no interruption in power supply for refueling or maintenance, as these tasks would be completed back in the factory where the barge-mounted nuclear plants were built. This is similar to what the Navy does in Groton, Connecticut for its nuclear submarines. These platforms would only occupy a tiny fraction of the area that an offshore wind farm would occupy. And these barge-mounted nuclear plants would have no need of the expensive $500 million ships that extend to the seabed to install the immense towers and blades of offshore wind turbines. It is estimated that 3.0 to 3.3 gigawatt electrical units equaling 3 billion watts could be placed on a platform setup with only a quarter of a square mile in size. U.S. shipyards would be able to build these barges, thereby avoiding major supply chain complications or dependence on foreign countries. NY State may be able to build such barges to be later fitted out with the nuclear components. Fixed-price contracts should lower costs and reduce financial uncertainties. These offshore nuclear barges of standard designs built in factories would be delivered to the offshore platforms ready to produce needed electricity. The Nuclear Regulatory Commission has already approved of nuclear power plant designs using artificial islands. Barge-mounted electric power plants are proven technology. New York City has barge-mounted natural gas power plants, and Russia operates a barge-mounted nuclear power plant. Westinghouse has a design for barge-mounted plants. There are numerous design concepts for floating offshore nuclear power plants. These have unlimited access to cooling water from the ocean, along with their potential for relocation to areas of demand. Offshore nuclear is one possible way of coping with destruction caused by climate change. If there were a fleet of such barges, some might be available to move to different East Coast Gulf of Mexico sites, depending on the shifting demand during different times of the year or during emergencies. Extra barge capacity could be stationed in the south during extreme summer heat and moved north during extreme winter weather, or moved to an area with an offshore platform that has lost much of its electricity because its land-based transmission grid was destroyed by wildfires or floods. Because of its low energy density and need for large land areas, renewable energy cannot offer barge-mounted electricity and the flexibility that comes along with that.